Sid was informed by Alpha that the Cult of Diablos is a massive organization that operates on a global scale, and that in order to combat it, they required a division of their forces. Sid has the impression that this is just their polite way of informing him that they are now adults, that they desire their independence, and that they do not wish to continue playing this game of fighting the cult. When Sid reaches the age of 15, he enrolls in the same school as his sister in the Midgar Kingdom's main city, which serves as the royal seat. 7 months into his life at the academy, Sid continues to exist as a background figure and has made friends with Skeletal and Potato, other nobles who are at the bottom of the social hierarchy like himself. Sid is reminded by Skell and Poe as they make their way to school that because he received the lowest score on the test, his punishment is to confess to the girl who is the most sought after at the school and endure her rejection. When they arrived at school, they saw the girl in question, Princess Alexia Midgar, who was refusing to believe the confession of another boy. Sid, on the other hand, is enthusiastic about it since he wishes to participate in such a confession as a supporting role. That evening, he goes to confess to Alexia that he has done a terrific job as a background character confession. He does so while shivering and muttering. However, he was taken aback when she accepted, claiming that she had been looking forward to meeting someone like him. People started to wonder who Sid was and what was so fantastic about him as the tales swiftly circulated around the community. Sid, Skell, and Poe are perplexed as to why she accepted, and they deduce that if she was willing to consider Sid, then even Skell and Poe had a shot. After that, Alexia joins them during lunch, which amazes the other students because that portion of the cafeteria is reserved for students of lower aristocracy. She is presented with a large quantity of food and remarks that she is unable to consume it all. Sid then eagerly began eating her meal in an effort to convince her to break up with him and find someone else. Alexia has learned that he is training in Royal Bushin fencing, and she is interested in training with him. Sid claims that he has been assigned to one of the lower sections, but Alexia explains that she put in a good word for him and was able to secure a spot for him in Section 1. Later on, Sid becomes a member of the Section 1 team, which is coached by Zenon Griffey, the official fencing teacher for the royal family. Sid trains with Alexia, and while they are doing so, he observes that Alexia's assaults never land, that she is slow, and that she doesn't use much magic. However, he soon understands that this is because they are reviewing their strokes and counterstrokes. Even though he acknowledges that her technique is sound, he considers that it to be uninteresting. After the session, Alexia comments that he has a decent fencing style, but she despises it because she feels as though it forces her to stare at herself. Zenon responds to Alexia by telling her that the fact that she is now Sid's girlfriend would not alter the fact that she is engaged to him, even though this information is still kept a secret from the general public. Sid then comes to an understanding of what is taking place. After that, Sid asks Alexia if all she wanted was someone to help her get out of the engagement with Zenon, and she chose a low-class nobleman because he was easy for her to manage. Alexia admits that this is what she wanted, but Sid is skeptical. Sid says that he does not want any additional attention, and that he has no desire in being involved in her issues as she verifies his statement. Alexia tells him that it a bit cold of him since she knows he false confessed to her because his pals simply told her everything. She warns him that if the other students find out that she played with the emotions of a young girl, he will never have a tranquil day at the school again. Alexia intends to keep up appearances, as having a boyfriend till Zenon finally quits up. Sid remarks that he might not quit up, despite the fact that it is obvious that he is not on Alexia's level. Alexia is aware of the situation, but she is trying to buy some time so that she can figure out how to handle it. Alexia produces a golden coin from her pocket and tosses it. Sid, who is staring at it, asks her if he seems like the kind of person who can be brought. Both Alexia and Sid have given their word. When she throws another coin, he acts like a dog and jumps up to get it with his mouth while she is doing so. Sid is aware that the stipend he receives from his parents is not sufficient to carry out his Eminence and Shadow operation, and he cannot afford to let this opportunity pass him by. Sid comes to the conclusion that he will continue to be her boyfriend, and he is relieved that the students concentrate on her having a boyfriend rather than on him. This allows him to play the role of the supporting boyfriend character. In front of others, Alexia displays restraint, but behind closed doors, she is relentless in her criticism of Zenon. Sid comes to the conclusion that he will not argue with her and will instead agree with anything that she says. Sid is curious as to what the problem is with Zenon, and Alexia explains that it is simple to appear to be polite. She also evaluates people based on their shortcomings. It is not typical for a human to be lacking, yet Zenon does not have any. Alexia admits to Sid that he is just familiar with the fundamentals of fencing, but despite this, she finds it unable to keep her eyes off of him while they ride the train. Because of her abnormally aggressive and sloppy fencing today, He is curious as to what is going on with her. Alexia admits that she has always wished that she could be just like her sister. She was unable to compete with her sister in strength, so she focused on improving herself alone. They eventually began to refer to Alexia as the fencing ordinaire. Although it is bad that Sid's fencing is not exceptional like hers, Sid does not think this to be regrettable and states that he enjoys seeing her fence. After suffering a humiliating loss in the Bushin Festival, Alexia discloses that her sister shared the same sentiment with her. However, her sister was unable to see how pitiful Alexia's situation was becoming. Sid adds that he isn't a very good person and that he wouldn't care if someone killed 1,000,000 people. However, there are things that other people seem to be worthless, but to him, they are the most important things in life, which is why he enjoys the way that she fences. Alexia grabs her blade and questions him about the significance of his statement. Sid claims that it pisses him off when other people criticize the things that he enjoys. After the train comes to a stop, Alexia gets off and says her goodbyes to Sid, leading him to believe that their unwelcome relationship has come to an end. Skell and Poe feel bad for telling everything to Alexia, and they apologize to Sid for doing so. However, they are curious as to how far Sid has gotten with Alexia in their 2 weeks of dating. Sid claims that he did not make any progress, which irritates them because they claim that they would have gone the entire distance. At the entrance to the school, Zenon and 2 other adults detain Sid and his companions. Zenon tells Sid that she ought to be aware that Alexia did not return to her hostel the previous night, and that they are looking into the possibility that she was kidnapped. Given that Sid was the last person seen with her, they had initially focused their attention on him as a suspect. Sid gives up and admits that he is in a precarious situation when he sees more knights approaching him.